All right, then. Here we are in the upper right, in the red. Actually, it looks like WTL has already introduced our players. But suffice to say, folks, this is Clem. It is Trap from WTL, the round one of the playoffs. A Freak of Freaks versus, of course, Team Liquid. Now, of course, as we get into this, I would like to remind you all, like, comment, subscribe, do all of these fun things. It's really helpful to us, really useful. It makes the algorithm love us, and, you know, that's all well and good. And, of course, if you want to go and add to our prize pools, buy some replay packs, things like that, make sure to go check out the Patreon page. Link in the description for that one. But, folks, this is a Trap versus Clem. This is the final match before the ace match here for round one of the WTL playoffs. But to orient ourselves where we are, of course, the WTL playoffs is an all-kill format. Already in this matchup, Alive and Hearthstone, they tied out 1-1, so they're both dead. Only reason you get either of them back is, of course, if you go and, well, and you use your revive on them. Armani then 2-0 to Kelazur. So that means that Armani was still alive. Kelazur is dead. A Liquid has effectively one player left and then a revive, or you know, maybe they could bring in Mana or someone if they don't want to use one of these three players. But then we had Clem brought in. And of course, Clem's going to be brought in to deal with Armani. Clem, at times, is the best TVZ in the world right now. Of course, that title inarguably goes to Maru. But certainly looking really good. So Clem goes in. He 2-0s Armani. And that's where we stand. Both teams have had 2 players die, which means only 2 players remain. Clem and Trap right now. And then both sides get a revive. So if Clem loses this, he can be revived. If Trap loses this, he can also be revived. And of course, maybe there are going to be some sniper builds available to them. But that's where we are right now in this game one on Glittering Ashes. And we're going to have to see what the players are interested in playing. Now, it also bears in mind that the first map of all of these series it went through a pick ban phase. That being said, I'm sorry, no, the maps were predefined, but each team has one map ban. Right, so if Clem loses game one, technically he would get map pick for map 2, but say he wanted to do Blackburn, and the Kwangdong Freaks had decided, okay, well, actually, you know, we don't want to play on Blackburn at all, so we banned that out. That is the one map that would be unavailable for Clem to pick, and I guess the other map, of course, would be Glittering Ashes, because, you know, that's not really a thing anyways. But anyway, folks, this is, you know, enough about that. We're into game one here, really and truly now, as the Hellions going to look to find his way in. Of course, just looking for a scout will not be successful there. Hellions, they die pretty quickly to things like Adepts, but the question now is, what is Clem going for? So what am I dropped to start? Of course, it's funny. I was going to say this is the standard, but it does feel like Widowmine drops, for the most part, have fallen out of the meta just slightly. Just by a little bit. And just in favor of that really strong +1 stim combat shield timing that, well, just has become so, what's the word? That it just becomes so common here in this matchup. What am I drop? Is it going to go off, though? Trap looks like he's got a plentiful split. Although he will get a Stalker for free, and honestly, you're kind of okay with that one. Actually, oh, no, you're especially okay with that one. He gets a probe, too, although, you know, 2 probes for 2 Widowmines is kind of the standard, but it looks like the second Widowmine may be able to run away. I'm not sure. I think it did die. I think the Stalkers were able to chase that down, but still, a Stalker and a probe for 2 Widowmines with the Medivac staying alive. Yeah, absolutely. Clem's going to take that one. Not the end of the world, but Stalker's kind of worth more than a single probe, certainly, especially with that gas cost. But this is interesting. Trap, he is on 4 gas here, so he's not going up to 6 gas. This is, if he has not gotten charged yet, he will be getting it soon. And we're going to be going into Charge Lot Archon Storm. That's going to be the name of the game for Trap in this game number 1. Is right now he's just trying to find some pressure for with these Stalkers, taking advantage of the fact that, you know, when you go for these Widowmine drops like this and Hellion into double Widowmine, you don't really have you don't really have a lot on the ground at home. Right, that factory build time not being spent building tanks means that when Trap runs across the map and tries to put pressure on at 530, there's only 1 or 2 tanks out of the map there. You don't have the 2 to 3 that are really safe and really nice. But for now, the Raven auto turret maybe got something, not sure. At the very least, it did deny mining time from Trap for a time. As okay, the Raven and the Natural is getting something here. So, you know, I mean, this Raven will continue to find value, will continue to be annoying up until the point where Clem decides A, to use it in a main army fight, or B, just manages to lose it a little bit, because it's not like there's Stargate play here. It's not like this Raven is ever really going to go down, as it can just kind of sit behind the mineral line and have a nice time. Now, Clemmy's got a big army here, but Storm is done now, and it's kind of, he's running into an anti-timing here. Clem, you got to be careful. Storm number 1 is going to drop. That army is so low. Second Storm would polish it off, but it looks like for the most part here, yeah, Clem is just going to sacrifice his Marauders. They actually just realize that they are tankier than the rest. So a couple of Marauders go down, but at the very least, he will trade. Stalkers for Marauders will be the name of that trade. And he's going to be fine. All right, but now Widowmine drop into the Natural a second time here. This time, it's not going to get nearly, well, I could say not nearly as much, but he didn't. Oh, actually, he's going to get a Stalker here. Oh, he's going to get 2 Stalkers, but the medevac does go down. So at the end of the day, not as much as, look at the intense damage from 5 High Templars. Their auto attacks doing so much here in this game. Number 1, killing off all the Widowmines, folks. You know it. That is what that was brought in for. That is what it's useful for. As, yeah, now the Army of Clem just active on the map. I mean, realistically, with Charge Lot Storm, this is an army from Trap that is designed, like, straight up designed to kill the army of Clem. But, oh, he's going to find these, he's going to find the High Templar here. So he's going to drop all on top of them, using the medevacs to split, and that means all these High Templars will go down. And suddenly, this is a disaster for Trap here. 1 Immortal goes down. Second one is falling by the wayside of, of course, no concussive. Oh, actually, no, it looks like we do have it. Never mind. We're going to see an attempted medevac out. An attempted hot pickup, but that's not going to happen here. 1 Storm, 2 3 Storm is available, but look at this pre-split here coming in from Clem. The reinforcements rallying in as well, and from a position where, honestly, kind of looking decent for Trap. Looking like he was in a good spot. No longer. He just lost 4 workers, and the big deal, he lost 5 High Templar and 2 Immortals for free. For absolutely free. And now that means that just gives Clem so much license here. Dropping it into the main base. 2 Storms are available, but Clem is already kind of free split. Storm's not really going to land. And of course, with these Widowmines here, it makes it so dang difficult for these Zealots to get on top. But of course, that final Storm is going to do more than enough. A medevac goes down. Part of the army goes down. +1 will not be denied. So for now, at least, Clem he's getting his value. But on the flip side, Trap is not dead. And Trap is doing a good job of, at the very least, I'm not going to say transitioning into this game, but at the very least taking some slightly more positive trades that buy him time to do something else right, because he is on 6 gas now, which means we would expect to see a Robobait come in. Something else like that, is now Trap's going to find a significant portion of Clem's army out here on the map, but it looks like he's going to be fine. Clem will be able to back up Runaway Stim home. This Raven, by the way, 7 kills on it already, taking 0 damage. Just sitting here and being annoying. Honestly, just drop an auto turret on that High Templar that was brought in to feedback the Raven, try to kill it off. Because, well, 3 High Templars are, what is it, free 200 gas? 300 gas? It's 200 gas. Yeah, free 200 gas is, that is not cheap at all. But okay, Stalker's moving out on the map now because Clem has started to realize that he does need to, you know, get enhanced shockwaves and maybe get 2-2, although he has not yet started that one, and secure his position in the game before he really looks to go and transition on from here. So there we go, 2-2, or at least +2 attack is on the way. Clem's going to be maxed out pretty soon, and he's going to have like 6, 7, 8 ghosts, and that really should be that timing when he is going to be able to make something happen here. And it looks like it actually is only still single eBay. So Clem, yeah, only getting +2 attack here as he's going to run across the map. Now we do have Zealot run-bys. on the north side, and that is going to do a fairly decent job of at least distracting Clem. The other way to say that, of course, is Clem's realizing is like, yeah, you I know my army is stronger than yours, and you have like 20 army supply of that back at home. But no, Clem's going to be at least returning home for the moment here, because he'd rather not lose his entire economy. This is a game that Trap can still win, even if we've been talking about how good of a position this is for Trap, or for Clem, excuse me. It is still a game that Trap can win, as the Storm will whiff the first one. Second one's going to be a little bit better, but it's already been an immortal in exchange. But we're starting to get to the point where, yeah, Clem has these ghosts and they're great. But, I mean, there are disruptors on the map right now. No liberators, there's a Viking, but Vikings aren't really useful for anything at this point. And the Zealot run-bys are starting to become aggressive. Of course, that being said, Clem has learned from his mistakes. And the bio Clem kept at home does mean that Trap is really just trading resources for time in this game. That really is where the game is. This composition that Trap has made is better. And oh, Clem, you got to be careful. Disruptor shots are going to land. One last one's going to get a final Marauder, but Clem, he's now brought his entire army to bear. The Storm's on the high ground, not really going to land all that much. And now Clem, he's stimming in. The Disruptors go down. The Immortals go down. The splits are impeccable. The rest of this army of Clem is going down. And again, a single Storm is not going to do enough. There is too much HP in this army right now. He's going to get a free War Prism that has, I assume, just a bunch of Zealots in there. But now we have 2 Storms are all that remain for Trap, and I guess a couple more Disruptors being made. But Clem has opened a massive supply gap into this game. Plus 40 supply as he takes his 4th base, as he looks to stem in. But of course, folks, this is Glittering Ashes. This is a map one does not simply walk into. Much like Mortar, it is not a map that one ends easily. Certainly not before 15 minutes. Certainly not before an opponent tries to take a 5th base, tries to take a 6th base, do something like that. And, while they're trying to do that, Trap has not quite spread himself thin enough to be taken apart by Clem yet. And even if he is traded pretty horribly, Disruptor shots are probably the best combat unit in the game. And the big deal also with these Disruptors being out, really with any tier 2 Robotech being out here, whether it is Colossus or Disruptors, it does mean the time of the Widow Mines are over, which gives so much more power for these charge slots in certain engagements. That being said, Disruptor shot not really going to land. EMP on top of the Archons doing a pretty good job as the run by. It's not going to get too much either. Clem now active with 2 armies on the map here. The 5th base will go down, and this is what we were talking about. The game does not end. This map does not end until you get to about 5 bases. At that point, it becomes a little bit more open, a little bit harder for players to defend everywhere at once. And when you are Clem, and as fast as Clem, and as powerful as Clem, that's what you're looking for, especially in this game where you're so far ahead. The Storm, though, is going to be very nice indeed. So many of these Marines, they just melt here, and the feedback on the Ghost as well, just for good measure. Yeah, we will see this. We will see the shield batteries go down, and the 4th base is under pressure. But this army is so low right now that, in all honesty, not getting too much done. The hot pickup on the Viking, you'll love to see it. I mean, I don't know why Clem was still building Vikings. Oh, man, yeah. EMP's there on the High Templar as well, almost getting a bunch of free ones. Disruptor shots. Good splits there for Clem. He will lose a couple of ghosts, but honestly, in exchange, he may get so much more. His drop on the west side, right outside the main, looks like it... Actually, it looks like it maybe got out. Oh, there, yes, okay. So it's going to stem onto the 5th base here that Clem almost killed a minute ago. Now that the army is out of position, well, it's not staying up again. 6 probes do go down. It is a 4-base Protoss against a soon-to-be 6-base Terran at this point. And when you're playing this composition, this style the Trap has, which, by the way, he does kind of feel trapped on. It's going to be rather difficult for him to transition into anything off of this at this point because he just doesn't have the money. You need bases. Yes, Disruptor's infinite comeback unit. Don't get me wrong. But the Stalkers, the Zealots, these things that you just try to run at your enemy to buy yourself time for your high-powered units to engage, they're not the cheapest things. And you will be continuously reinforcing them. Disruptor shots are not going to land whatsoever here. Trap just running his army away while leaving a couple Disruptors to play. And the Disruptors, they're stuck in the sandbox. They don't want to play at all. And that last one will go down even through shield battery overcharge. The 3rd base of Trap now falling as he goes for the counterattack. Does the last thing that he can possibly do to make this happen, but 2 Liberators in the skies, raining freedom from above. So many of these Stalkers, they are dying. And yes, the third base of Clem will be broken, but already this base trade is really and truly going in the favor of the Team Liquid Terran. We're going to see the Twilight Archive, the Temple Archives, they'll go down. The natural falling apart here, the production of Trap falling down. So even if he wants to reinforce, he will not be able to do so anymore. So Trap, he's going to break the third base of Clem. This much is true. I don't think there's any stopping that at this point. But yeah, it's just not going to be enough. GG. Clem takes game number 1. Liquid's hopes, they stay alive. And now Trap is dead. The question is whether he can take Clem with him, because that's what we're looking to see. So game 1, we saw Trap go charge that Archon Storm, which is something that has been slowly, ever so slowly, finding its way back into the meta. You know, this is something that really Classic has been reintroducing, although he has been doing kind of Phoenix Charge Lot Archon Storm, which is, you know, of course, something that he used to do all over the place. But anyway, so that's something that Classic has been kind of introducing, and other players have started to do it, much like, you know, we see Maru and Dream playing mech since Gumiho's back. You know, it's one of those things where the style is not necessarily good or bad, and I mean, for a while, I mean, that was Zest's build against Terran and Katowice last year. But it did fall by the wayside for a little bit, just in favor of a Blink Stalker opening every game, or Blink Stalker into Colossus opening every game, excuse me. But seeing as things have evolved, not quite where we are anymore, we're starting to see that more and more. But anyway, Clem just did a bang-up job of putting on pressure through that. So that build that Trap went for is designed to pressure Clem, or is designed to really handle the Terran pressure extremely well. It swallows up the Terran when they move out on the map, storms drop, the army dies, and suddenly the Protoss has a really nice lead that they can either leverage into a victory, or into an immediate victory, or map control and tech development. But that didn't happen for Trap, because Trap lost 5 High Templar to just carpet bombing of Terran. And when you lose your 5 High Templar, you lose pretty much all your defensive ability. And from there, the game didn't end, but it might as well have, because Clem just started swarming all over the map, getting damaged on picking away. Trap was never within 50 supply, maybe briefly, but really never able to get too close to the supply of Clem after that point, because, you know, a High Templar is 200 gas. They're expensive things. I'm sorry, 150 gas, not 200. Got myself all turned around. Yeah, there we go. But anyway, an Adept's got to find its way into the main base here, and while this really shouldn't kill anything, of course it takes 3 shots to kill an SCV, what it will do is get a really nice scout off. Oh, actually, it's gonna get an SCV, never mind. So it does delay the supply depot for, you know, 5 seconds. It gets a really nice scout on what Clem is going for, which is kind of this 1-1-1 setup. You know, +1 stim combat shield timing. At least that's what Clem is enabling himself to do. The big scout, though, is the fact that there is a tech lab on the starport, which could, of course, mean 2 things. Clem could be going for Viking, or excuse me, for Banshees. But no, that is highly unlikely in this game state. You just don't see Banshees, and certainly not Banshees with 2 additional barracks. So Trap does know that this is going to be a Raven opener, which means that there's going to be less gas for tanks defensively, which means there will be probably 1 less tank, which means these Stalkers can maybe find value. But on the flip side, a Raven does exist that will do a pretty good job of knocking down this Observer and making Blink not really be a thing. And so Clem is aware of that. Ooh, Stalkers, they could have gotten that Raven, or at least done heavy damage to it, you know, forced resources out of Clem here. But this is really interesting, this opener that we see from Clem here. Hellion drops have been a thing for a while. TY used it with great aplomb to kill Parting in the GSL last year, but delayed Hellion drops like this, it's 5:30 in the game, and 3 Hellions are going to drop off. I mean, that is just I'm not going to say unheard of, but really almost unheard of here. But the Hellions find their way in, and Trappy's a little slow in the pull. Line him up. 3 workers go down. It's going to be more. It's going to be 7. It's going to be 9. And here he finds his way in the natural. The recall was only in the main base. So, man, these lines of probes are just causing so many problems. 13 workers have died, and now Clem's going to find maybe the 3rd base as well. No, he's just going to ping up for a time, say, you don't get to mine from here by now. And, yeah, Trap is maybe less catastrophically injured in this game than he would be if this had come in at, like, 4 minutes. But make no mistake about it, it is still a grievous wound. 13 workers puts Trap behind the Terran that has mules. Just in terms of actual workers, which means, yeah, Clem, he's in a wonderful spot this game. +1, it's about halfway done. Stim combat shields, they're just about done, so that's going to trigger Clem moving out, and he is so confident in his position in this game that he's going to take his 3rd base on location. Normally for these timings where, you know, you're hitting at 6:30, like right around now, you go and you take your 3rd base on the high ground, and that's fine. So Zealots, they will counter drop here into the main base. Trap has won so many games like this. He's just catching the entire Terran army. I'm not even going to say out of position, but on the aggressive. SCVs have to be pulled to defend, but it looks like even still, great hold position micro there from Clem, actually. These Zealots are not paying attention, so only 5 SCVs go down now. Auto turrets getting dropped here. Stalkers drop on top of the tanks, but the tank getting 2 or 3 really good shots off the Zealots. Not really doing what they need to do yet. The auto turret's just finding so much value, but this sentry, this Guardian Shield, is keeping the army of Trap alive. And even as the damage Trap has taken is significant in this game, he found a counterpunch. A little bit weaker, but a counterpunch nonetheless. But there we go. The Hellions, they're still here. Don't forget about them. 3 more probes do go down. And it's still safe here. The medevac can still hang out. It can still drop these Hellions. It can still find value for the 17 probes that have died in this game. But Trap does have agency on the map here. He does have the ability to make something happen with this. Oh, the Auditor's going to get dropped. It's just, oh, wait, actually, he's going to get the, no, he's not. The Warp Prism, it stays alive. Even the HP nerf of years ago, not enough to make this Warp Prism go down. And it's barely going to be there. It shall, and you know what? It can continue to warp things on, and it's now Trap getting aggressive here against a Clem that is, 30 army supply up. Most of his army is not there. It's behind the natural in the 3rd, in the form of 3 Hellions and a medevac. It's pushing into the 3rd base as well in the form of a double drop. The army is not together, so that means that this supply lead for the moment that Clem has, I'm not going to say it's a lie, but it's less than you expect it to be, at least in terms of just overall fighting power. But Clem does have his 3rd base up. He is within 3-4 workers of the Protoss player. He has mules. He's got +2 to armor on the way. He's getting his 2nd eBay. He is well positioned to take this game into the mid to late game. We're going to have to see what Trap's motion is. It looks like it's going to be double Robo Disruptor out of this. So same idea that he went for in game number 1. And I mean, in all honesty, Trap looked good up until the point where he lost 5 Templar to carpet bombs. Which is fair. As the Zealots are going to move in now. Actually, the army's going to move on in, but it's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. This Immortal is just going to get absolutely burst down. The 4th base will be delayed will be canceled. There we go. Yeah, Clem is not going to let that one get killed, but it will get canceled here. I don't know. That's 7 SCVs in a canceled command center for Trap losing almost the entirety of his army. Yeah, 15 more SCVs have died to the 17 of Trap, but you got to remember, folks, these are like 15 SCVs that have died over the course of 10 minutes. Those were, those were 17 probes that died just in one fell swoop, which means, of course, that it was much more impactful. You can lose like 2 SCVs here, 3 SCVs there, 7 SCVs there, and be in a much better spot than you have if you had lost them all at once here in the auto turret. Just finding more and more value. 2 more probes do go down as now Clem, he's looking to push into this 4th base, trying to prevent that from happening because, he went, he's going to be able to target these disruptors down. 1 goes out, the 2nd one, well, actually, neither of them are really going to get their shots off here. And I mean, that's a dead 4th base for Clem. Trap really just out of position in this game. Although in fairness, I mean, he's down 50 army supply. It's kind of hard. That disruptor shot's going to be nice. But nice doesn't cut it. Gotta be more than nice. So once again, we see Trap kind of going for a pseudo base trade. But again, the army, I mean, Clem's got first mover's advantage here. The army that he has outside of this natural Trap is just so much better. It's so much better at killing anything than the Trap's army here. Zero disruptor shot's going to pair off, a couple more Marines. That's fine. The army of Trap is now going to run on home, and Clem is starting to run out of stuff just a little bit. Stalker's blink on forward, but Medvac does not go down. So yeah, Clem's army here in the base is starting to run out of resources just slightly. It's it's very heavily stemmed, so you get out for now. You got your damage. You delayed disruptor tech significantly. You forced the army back home. You killed a fourth base. You got stuff with the Widowmine. So the Widowmine got a Stalker too, and now Clem has this big surround setting on up here, but he's not quite microing it just yet. Stalker will bring it forward. They're going to get one full medevac, it sounds like. And a second one, well, we'll be able to get out, but still, that push from Clem, it's going to be shut down slightly. But at the end of the day, folks, look at the supply. The soup does not lie, in fact. Did we just skip forward in time? I think we did. Anyway, Raven Auto Turret will find more value. Clem is on 4 bases now. He's got 2-2 just about done, excuse me. Even as Trap does have 2-1 complete. Trap is just kind of lacking in the money. He's down 20 workers. He's down 50 army supply. And he kind of has to play this game at the edges. At this point. In Dota, which is another esport, when teams are behind, they talk about playing side lane Dota. Which is a void, right? You don't take big fights. You just kind of play at the edges, try to get the value that you can, pick off units here or there, and then eventually maybe you're going to be able to face your opponent, force your opponent into enough bad fights that you can claw back into this game. Trap is playing side of the map StarCraft. In this game, number 2 here, he has to just, again, do this. Pick off 3 or 4 units where Clem is not paying attention. Find value here, have Clem. He's going to get another disruptor. No, actually, he will not. Well, okay, he will at the end of the day, but still not going to be as good of a trade as Clem would have liked because the Stalkers, they blink on top, and they kill some stuff off here. But we got another army from Clem into the natural, and that is just less disruptor production. That's the really big deal. Liberator sieging on up as well, bringing freedom to the forces of Ire, and it's just going to be so hard to take this fight anymore. Disruptors will try to get some shots off, and that first shot is going to be very juicy indeed. EMP is blanketing this army, but Liberators, well, actually, they're going to go down now too, but Clem does own the high ground. After the EMP is blanketing this army, Clem owning the high ground, and on it, I don't think any of the Disruptors have shots left at the moment. This is not really a fight that Trap wants to be taking, but now, okay, the Disruptors will be able to force Clem back. He's just kind of out of stuff for the moment. And Trap is back on double robo. Actually, I guess maybe he was on triple robo for a time. Oh no. This Widowmine. Target. There we go. 4 workers to go down. I mean, it could have been more, but only if Trap had workers, which he doesn't. And another disruptor shot does go down. So, folks, I think we're at the point here where we can say that Clem is in a winning spot in this game, which means we're going to go to the ace match, which means Clem has the opportunity to put his entire team on his back here at GG. Clem forcing it to the ace match, killing 2 of the Kwangdong Freaks. Thus far, he's killed Armani. He's killed Trap 2-0-2-0, which is what he had to do. He could not afford to lose a map at this point. And now we're going to have to see who gets sent out for the ace match. Is it going to be Trap or is it going to be Clem? So now we're going to have to see with 1 life left, the Freaker Freaks. Are they going to be able to make this happen, or does Clem just... does he just put Team Liquid on his back? Does he take him in to a match with Kaitza Gaming in that next round? I don't know, but I'm here for heroics one way or the other. So we're going to find our way into Blackburn, which I guess shouldn't surprise anyone too much. Actually, was this... No, okay. So yeah, the map order was pick banned. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, Blackburn for an ace match is not crazy. It's not like you're throwing it in on a, well, Beckett is not an ace match anymore anyways. Beckett is not in the pool, even if it technically is in the pool. Blizzard, please fix that. I don't want to play on Beckett. I don't want to have to waste one of my map bans on a map that shouldn't exist in the first place. Okay, so Trap in this game, I was going to say, well, he's going to do a blink opener this time, but he has done a blink opener in all 3 games. I'm almost surprised. I'm not going to say super surprised, but on Blackburn, you do see a lot more Stargate openers in PvT than you do elsewhere because, well, you know, there's so much dead airspace that Terrans like to drop early, and honestly, the way Clem has been playing with these Hellion drops and Widowmine drops and things like that, opening up with a bunch of Phoenix would probably be a good thing to do. But of course, that's not what Clem is going for in this game. We got a 3-racks coming, and Stim is on the way. But this is going to be a really weird. This is going to be a 3-rack with a really quick +1 behind it. Oh no, the Adept scouts it though. That is wait, actually, was this a 2-rack? Oh, it's a 2-1-1. Wait a minute. It's a 2-1-1 with the third base. This is the Bjorn build. Okay. Sorry, I was not paying quite enough attention. I was thinking about other things. This build that Trap is doing here is actually really cool. Oh, excuse me, that Clem is doing here is really cool because Clem has games to give. He does not need to win this, or he does not need to win this game. Because I believe this is still technically a best of 2. The series just ends if he wins this map. So he has a map to give, and then he has another revive. That means he's fine there. So in this build, you get like a 220, 230 third base. And you get 2 barracks behind it, and you power up. You can go for a timing similar to a 3-1-1, or a 3-racks timing, where you run across the map. It's a little bit later, and it's because it's only 2 barracks to get the same amount of Marines. But you can still find some damage. And that was the way Bjorn was first playing it. However, in this game, that's not the case. And Clem is getting away with this, by the way. He is up 1 to 2 workers on a Protoss player who has his third base done. And his army supply is just going to skyrocket here in a second. He's going to be up to 3 barracks pretty soon. Actually, he's going to be up to 5 barracks pretty soon. He's already on 3. +1 is going to be done soon. Combat shields are yet to get started, of course, and that's a problem. But, I mean, this army from Clem is about to become massive because the economy is really there. And look at this, too. He's going to take the pushing third. So you see there's a lot of Terran players, a lot of players in general, will take the linear third. Like what Trap has done, because it's harder to harass. It's a little bit safer. But if you are Clem and you want to go balls to the wall aggressive in this game, which it seems like he does, you go and you say, okay, I am going to take the linear third, or the triangular third. I'm going to be able to push through there, and my aggression is going to serve as my defense. So now Medivacs are on the field. Stim is done. Clem, of course, you know, not feeling the need to stim when he doesn't have to. We'll drop a scan here, say, okay, look, these zealots don't appear to have charge. There are no High Templar yet, so I know my timing. It's just a bunch of stalkers and immortals. With combat shields, Clem may be able to make this happen, but for now, it looks like he's just going to rotate around, try to find an opening against Trap here, maybe pressure in from the north side of Trap's third base, where there's just maybe a little bit less setup, a little bit less defensive utility, but instead, hey, it's 300 minerals. The Zealot's going to go down. But this does mean that combat shields will have the time to complete, although it will finish at the exact same time that charge will be, pretty much. So there's not going to be that, wow, I have zealots, but they are useless because I do not have charge scenario. And Storm, by the way, is just about halfway done. Looks like a little more, actually, done from Trap here. So this timing that Clem may or may not have, where his army is powerful because the tech of Trap is just not there yet, it is closing very quickly. Storm is done in 10 seconds. These force fields not going to get anything done, though, outside of just keeping Clem back. But they're not going to get any, give Trap any sort of free pickoff. And as we've seen this entire series, Trap is doing a really good job at being active on the map with just a bunch of zealots and finding value there. And even still, yeah, he's going to push forward a little bit, knocking a medevac down. And of course, Clem, it's really hard for him to rotate between these positions because of the slow zones. And actually, Clem has to be very careful that he does not get caught in any of those. The first storm is really just going to totally whiff here. Now with the tanks sieging on up, looking to push forward, Clem is starting to build again, we talked about that army supply lead. It's like it's 30 army supply right now. Storms are going to have to do a lot, and just thus far they have not. That being said, only 2 medevacs on the field, and there we go. That's the juicy form. 30 supply to 20 in the blink of an eye. 5 Marines, or I guess actually 10 Marines. They do go down. And of course, behind this, Trap is much quicker into his tech than he was in those first 2 games because conveniently he has not lost, 5 High Templar for free. He has not lost 20 probes to Hellion drops. He's in a much more comfortable position. None of the multitasking for Clem is done too much, and not that he's even really tried. So we're going to have to see whether he can hold against a defend or an aggressive Protoss now, because that is a wholly different beast. Honestly, probably an easier one, but still a very different one here. As actually Clem's going to find a bunch of these zealots. Yeah, he's going to lose a tank, but that is still going to be a bunch of dead zealots here. A lot of army supply from Trap going down the drain. And yeah, it's only minerals. It's not really what Trap prizes with his economy as it is, but Clem is still up workers, even as he's up army as well. And as he nears the max out, this is going to be his attempt, his time to really get pressure in. He has 1-1. No 2-2 just yet, but he does have 1-1 here. Ghosts are starting to pop on out, so he actually wants to clear out some of the supply anyway to make room for Ghosts. The High Templar Storm is going to be decent, but nothing dies. Okay. Oh man, this is such a great position for Trap here. He's got High Templar on the high ground, disruptor shots coming from as well, but he doesn't get quite enough of it yet. And that means Clem's going to be able to push him off this high ground position, which means Clem is going to be able to shove in. He's going to be able to siege up the gold. He's going to be able to remove so much money from the army of Trap, as again, a storm is going to whiff. These pre-splits from Clem are downright awe-inspiring in really this entire series, but particularly this game number 3. But a storm from the right side is going to get a whole hell of a lot more disruptor shots going to go in as well. It actually is going to do damage to the tanks. Their second tanks. These tanks are very, very low now, but they're not low enough yet. Zealot's trying to get on top. Clem is steamrolling through this fight. High Templars, I think, no, those are Zealots that are going to get dropped on top of things. The tanks are going to go down. Disruptor shot will force Clem to move away, pick back up, and as good as a fight that was for Clem, and it did look good despite everything, he's not able to quite push down onto the low ground into any base just yet. But as I say that, the reinforcements come on in. Another tank's going to siege up on the high ground. We got well, actually no EMPs just yet. Actually looks like the Ghost spent it where an army was not really there. But even still, we have Ghost just adding additional damage here. It's just Blink Stalker Charge Lot, and attempts at disruptors, but they're not really where they want to be just yet. So Clem now will step onto the low ground here. He will be able to knock this base down. Stalker's trying to flank from behind, but Liberators, man, just so much area denial in this game. With tanks and with Liberators, it's just so hard to attack into the sieged up, this entrenched position that Clem has made for himself here. And yes, the disruptors are doing a good job of like paring away, trying to find value that they can. Clem, that was a little bit overconfident, but he's going to be able to get this one anyways. The last of the disruptors go down. A couple more, of course, in production. But at this point, I mean, it's just all about knocking the tech out of Trap. He's lost his gold. He's lost a bunch of workers. He will get some of these medevacs, though. But again, it's the rally that we're scared of. Every time it feels like Trap is able to punch Clem off the high ground, buy himself a little bit more space. The reinforcements from Clem come in, and now we're at the point where Clem is just miles and miles and miles ahead. 160 supply to 100 here as Clem. He is on the precipice of victory, the precipice of glory, and no precipice no longer. He has climbed that mountain. He has all killed the Afrika Freaks. And that means, oh, I guess all killed the Afrika Freaks, but alive. 6 maps in a row. 5 maps in a row to secure his victory and a date with Kaitsa Gaming in the next round. Clem the hero, Clem the Titan takes it down.